Do you feel the vibes?
Hey there everyone, Dragon Slayer here again, and today we'll be making another part of the tank game. Today we'll be start to make obstacles. So, in obstacles, we will have to make it so that there's maybe like a wall here so that this cannot reach here. So the way we can do this is first we have to create sprites for this. So I've already done this and these are my 4 sprites. I have a wall like this, which is kind of like a table. Then I have like a completely flat wall. I also have 2 opposite L's as walls too. So before we do any of this wall stuff, I think that we should let our tanks have certain positions for where they go. So for example, the blue tank would like start maybe here and the red tank would start here, something like that. So what we can do is that in one of these we can say when green flag clicked, go to and change Y to 0, and then I'll just put whatever I have there because I like those positions. And we'll do the same here. So what is it here? What are the coordinates? 211. So we can do that. Go to Y to 11, 0, and then we just have to make them point in a certain direction because this one would have to turn that way, so that's left. So now if we did it, it's exactly there. And then for the blue tank, we would do it in this direction. So now if we click the green flag, as you can see, we do that. So the next thing that I forgot to do before we start the walls is that our bullets really don't do any damage here, right? As you can see, blue bullet damage equals 0. And this is supposed to be our health. So what we'll first do is make a sprite. It's just going to be a text box. And we'll say HP. Now, I'd like that to be black. So we get that, and all we have to do is zoom in so that we can center it. Because remember, everything in here has to be centered. I do remember that there was a way to center it before, but I completely forgot about that. So, yeah. Anyways, that's our sprite. So, we can see it here. It's a little bit small, so I'll go into the code section and go into looks and then put the set size. And I'll do it 50 times bigger, so I'd make it 150%. So half, a little bit bigger. That's still not it, so maybe I'll try 200. And then when I click it, that's a little bit too big. So let me try 180. Still a bit too big. Maybe 170. It's basically just personal preference right now. Maybe I'll just go with 150 because, you know, it's okay. Seems fine, I guess. So there we go. For HP right now, we have this. The way you can like change the way it looks is like when we first make a variable, it's going to be like this. If you right click on it, you'll have different things. So you have normal readout, large readout, or slider. If you go into large readout, you go into this mode where it just shows the number. Normal is the mode where it says the variable too, and slider is where you can adjust it in the game. So I kept this one as large, and this will usually be hidden. I just turned it on to show you that there is no bullet damage happening right now. So we can hide blue bullet damage. But blue tank HP has to stay so that we know the HP amount. Next, what we have to do in the red bullet thing, right, is that there's a delete clone part here. Well, we have to add on to that. And since we also will be changing variables, I'd rather have this in a different piece of code so that like it doesn't affect anything else. So we go back into control and say that when I start as a clone forever, if, and just take this, instead of if touching edge, say if touching blue tank hull because this is the red bullet. Then we say to change, we go into variables and we can say change blue tank HP by, and then you can go into variables and put in red bullet damage because this is the red tank. Now if we go into our background where all our variables are and we go into the red section, we can see that blue bullet damage is right now 0. I'll put that into 5 so that you have to shoot the player 20 times for the player to explode, and the same thing to the enemy tank. So right now, if I would have put this into a slider and I press when green flag clicked, as soon as this goes to 0, this doesn't do anything. And the reason why it's going up is because we didn't make it a negative number. We'll do that soon enough. But this is the thing, right? For this, once it reaches 0, nothing happens. And then on top of that, instead of 5, it's going up 35. So those are two things that we have to fix, and they're pretty easy fixes. So we go into the bullet thing, and as soon as it hits it, I put a wait 0.1 second so that it can catch up with itself, and then immediately after that, delete the clone. What this does is that it doesn't cause extra damage. So now if we did it, you can see that it's going up by 5, but it's supposed to go down by 0s. Oh, what did I just do? If then set reload to no. Yeah, I think I should put the wait on that. Is there an undo? Control Z. Okay. Let's see now. Is it working again? Yeah, okay. I thought I just broke it. Anyways, let's see. We put in the change red bullet damage, and the red bullet damage was 5, so it actually has to be -5. So right here, or I mean we could keep it at 5 and then we can multiply it by -1. For me, personal preference is to keep it like a positive integer or like a positive number and then multiply it by -1, so that like when you're changing those values like in game because of shop upgrades and levels and all of that, it doesn't mess up. So I'll go into operators and just do multiply, because as you should know by now, if you multiply anything by -1, you get the opposite. So now if we see, it does go right through, but as you can see, the HP goes down. Now we can just put in this exact same code into that and take this and then just replace a few of the things. So instead of blue tank hull, we put the red hull. And instead of red bullet damage, we put blue bullet damage. And then it's pretty much the same. So now as you can see, I can fire and it will do damage if I would like to show it. And doesn't pass through anything. So if we show the red tank HP, it should be going down. Okay, it's not. Why? If touching red hull, then change. Oh, right, we're doing blue bullet hell HP. We have to put the red tank HP. So now if we try it, if my aim is any good, yes, see? It's going like that. So let's just put that to normal readout and hide this. As you can see, it's working. So now we have these bullets. Now we can work on these walls. What I want these walls to do is it's randomly generated for every level, and they just can be turned in any possible way. There's an equal chance for either one of these walls to be spawned, and they're in any degree. So all of that is really easy, even though it sounds like a mouthful. All you have to do is go into events when green flag clicked, as usual, and go into. This time we do not do forever, instead we put the repeat so that it spawns multiple. And for me, I think 2 walls per game is a pretty good number. So when green flag clicked, repeat 2, and that means that it will happen 2 times. And before we do anything, of course, we have to change the ghost effect, because then we would have 3 walls instead of 2 and all of that. So it would just be better to change ghost effect, or we could hide it in this case since we're just going to do that. So I think we'll hide it. So if we go in here and we put hide and then repeat, and then we say create clone of myself. Where is it? There we go, create clone of myself. So then we put when I start as a clone, and then it's very simple. Go to a random position, point towards random. Where is it? Is there a random? So there isn't a random for a point towards. So instead, what we can do is that we can say point towards, and then we can go into, I think it's sensing, and no, it's operators. You say pick random, and since we're doing degrees, there's 360 degrees, so you just say pick point towards, pick random of 1 to 39, not 39, 360, and then you also have to say choose a random costume. So we're going back into looks and then say switch to costume, and once again there's no random. So if we go into costumes, there's 4, so pick a random of 1 to 4. Let's go into operators, pick a random of 1 to 4. So now if we see, alright, I forgot to put it as show. There. So now if we click this, we can see we get different things. Now one problem is, there's 2 problems actually. Sometimes they're going on top of each other, and other times they're touching the edges and you can't see them. So I want to do 2 different things. So you'll do this, and then on top of that, you'll put an if then statement, and then we'll say if touching blue boundary box or itself or anything like that, then you'll repeat this process. So we can say put a forever into this, or I guess you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. So you say if, and then you go into looks and you put, wait. You go there and you say touching, and then you have to put or blocks in. So if touching edge or red red tank or blue tank. So we'll just put the boundary box in here so that like the blue tank has some space. The red doesn't have a boundary box, so I guess really doesn't do anything. So, or touching red tank hull. And then we also put in we don't need that. Or edge. So if we're touching edge, then we'll just put this in again. So I guess we just have to duplicate this. Put this in here, clip this on there, do that. So now, as you can see, the chances of them being on top of each other are way less. Like, as you can see, yes, sometimes they're going in, but as long as their center of gravity, I would say, isn't there. One thing we could actually do, though, is that for the brick walls, we create like a hitbox, and all that does is that, no, actually, no, it's fine. What I was thinking of is that if there was a hitbox, then it would do that, but the problem with that is that we're doing a random costume, and so it might choose a hitbox. So I'd rather not. So this is actually really good. They're randomly generated and so on. So the next step is to take this our tank hull and make sure that whenever it hits walls, like it stops, and the same thing for bullets. So we go into bullets, and then we have the if touching edge delete clone here. We can just add an or statement into there to say if touching edge or touching the brick wall, then delete the clone. So there we go. And we have to just do the same for the blue bullet. So where is the delete the clone part? Here, so we do the same thing here. God, I cannot place blocks. Anyways, we have that done. And then the final thing is that when the red tank or the blue tank, because we don't want any of them going through the walls, hits it, they go the opposite direction. So what I'll say is that what I think we'll do is that we have a thing in the blue tank for all the WASD keys, right? We'll duplicate that, put that there, and then put a when green flag clicked. Let me just clean this up first. Wrong button. Okay, so we have two. So this one, excuse me, sorry. Anyways, what you want to do, right, is that instead of this movement, we actually do the opposite. So this would go here, because instead of going forward, you have to go back when touching the wall. This would go here, since instead of going backwards, you'd have to go forwards. And then instead of going left, you go right, and then that. So these are basically going to counter it. And you're asking, well, how would this work? Because right now, if I do this, it's just going to keep me in place. So what will happen is that we also have to put an and in statement in here, because both things have to be valid for this to work. So if we just put and statements in here, Then what we can say is that if that key is pressed and on top of that we're also touching the brick wall, then this happens. So we go into sensing and we put touching brick wall, touching brick wall, touching brick wall, and then touching brick wall. So now if we click the green flag, you can see that if we tried to go here, we'd just be stopped in place. Now, that's not going to happen to the red tank since we still haven't put that in place, but it's a really easy thing to do. So, now a problem that we see here is that the tank tracks are constantly turning, right? So, let's see, why is that? It seems that it's touching the brick wall, which I don't get. Why is it constantly? Okay. I want to know why it's being weird. So if key W is pressed, then you go forward, right? And then when we hit this, nothing happens. Okay. That's a weird bug. I'll have to examine it further. Okay, well, as you can see, you cannot go through the walls. So, that's pretty much it for this part. We just have to do one last thing. So, here it would say if touching the blue boundary box, it would go like stop itself from doing that. So instead, what we will do is that we'll put an or statement so that it can also happen if touching the wall, so that we won't get weird stuff happening. So we say here touching brick wall and we click brick wall. So there we have it. As you can see, it will try to go for this, but as soon as it hits it, it can't do anything. And on top of that, I'm planning on adding like a line of sight for these guys. So if it cannot see it, it doesn't go for it. Like right now, like it can be seen, so it does this. Okay, so oh god, that's a bad thing. Where you're stuck if you go into like that. You can't do anything. Okay, then it's definitely a bug. Let's just fix that and then we'll be on our way. So, I see I cannot go anywhere. Okay, so I guess what we could do then is change this up so that maybe instead of this, we double it. So if we said -2, right, now, so if I went W, I would be, as you can see, there. So it basically just, you'd be moving back. Okay, that's still not an elegant solution. Yeah, no, it's not good either. I'll fix this bug in the next episode, because I do not think of any solutions at this moment, but I'm pretty sure I'll find something. Anyways, have a good day and enjoy. Bye!